Today we're going to go over something that may be hindering you from reaching your maximum power potential. Let's get into it. Spin it. Hey DMD family, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. Go ahead and hit the subscribe and the like and the notification bell and all that good stuff. I don't say that a lot, but it helps the channel out and I hope you stick around. Also, if you're new or if you've been around for a while and you haven't heard, I am now coaching with Overthrow Disc Golf. There's 5 of us now, Josh and Mikey and Cam and Jacob and myself. The links are in the description below. The link to my direct daily form tier is down there, as well as the overall Overthrow website with all 5 of us. They have bios there, so you can pick the coach that suits you the best. And I highly recommend any of us. That's why I joined the coaching staff. Also, for you younger guys, don't discount the older. I know my audience tends to be older men, and I embrace that. I encourage that. Bring us on. I want to bolster our age group for sure. But you young guys, don't discount an older coach just because I'm older. The things that I coach apply to pretty much everyone. I may have some specialty things that I bring up because I'm older, but I can coach young guys too. I actually have an athlete who just turned 30, who's doing quite well with me. We've gained about 50 feet, a little over 50 feet in about a month. So you young guys, I can help you out too. But older guys, you know, let's show them how it's done. Anyway, the link's down there for anybody who wants coaching, and I welcome anybody who wants to get better at this game. All right, now let's get into the video for today. All right, today's video, we're going to talk about the X step, because I think that's the one thing that is keeping us amateurs from reaching our maximum potential in power, because it limits our ability to coil properly. Now, this video was spurred on by, again, Clint from Blitz Disc Golf. So go over and subscribe to him and watch his stuff. He did an amazing video on how to coil and gives you some really good drills to enable you to coil properly. So go on over and watch that video because I'm not going to teach you how to coil here necessarily. What I'm going to do is help to set ourselves up to be able to coil properly, right? Because I believe this step right here is the key to being able to coil well or to coil properly for most of us. Having an X step that is perpendicular to your target or parallel with your other foot, I think sets us up better to be able to coil properly. Now, I get it. It's not a definite must. There are people that can go into their X step and have their foot pointing backwards and coil properly and get big distance. I can hear the comments now. Well, Bunky, such and such a pro, has his foot pointing backwards and he throws 600 feet. Well, if you can X step with your foot pointing backwards and throw 600 feet, then this video is not for you. The pros, they know how to coil, and regardless of what their foot is doing. That's why they're pros. They've been doing it forever. They practice tirelessly. And if you're somebody that can do that, then awesome. But most of us have not been playing that long and don't practice near enough. So we need every mechanical advantage that we can get to be able to coil correctly. And having our foot pointing backwards like this opens our hips up so that we have no place to coil. We're already pointing backward with our hips, so if we coil, our disc is now more than 180 degrees from our target, and we can't throw like that. So how do we set ourselves up to get into an X step that positions us to get tension in our coil? Having an X step that points directly to the camera or perpendicular to our target. And as I've been coaching and watching a lot more form on YouTube and Facebook groups, the more I see that, I think there's really 2 big reasons that we X step with our foot pointing backwards. So today I'm going to go over those 2 reasons and give you some ways to fight that. All right, reason number 1 that we turn backwards in our X step is our X step's just too long. So I'm going to put up a graphic here of AB, and shout out to Overthrow for these reference files that I have access to. This is AB's backhand form. Look at his X step here. Now, just consider how tall AB is. AB is like, what, 6'5"? Look how short, look how narrow that X step is. I would venture to say that most of you watching right now are not nearly as tall as AB and have an X step that is significantly bigger than his. The problem is that we don't have the hip flexibility for us to have a very long X step and still keep our foot pointing perpendicular to our target. Because if I go way out here, I have to really work to get that foot perpendicular to my target, right? We just don't have, if you have the hip flexibility to do this, more power to you. But most of us do not. So we don't have the hip flexibility to take these massive X steps and still keep our foot in a good position. So we need to shorten our X step. It doesn't need to be long. I mean, look at AB. How far does he throw? And his X step is really short. So keep your X step short. How do we do that? And it's not as easy as you think. Like, I tried to shorten my X step, and mentally I'm thinking my X step is about right here, when in reality, it's still way out here. So how do we make sure that we're shortening up our X step? Well, there's two different ways. You can use a body cue, which I think is the best way to do it. Clint and Nick Crush both talk about body cues a lot because you have your body with you all the time, right? So if you use a body cue, then you're able to use that cue no matter where you are because your body's there. So I have an athlete who uses the body cue of his back leg brushing against his front leg. And as soon as he feels this knee or this part of his leg swipe his front leg, he puts his foot down. And there you have it. You have a short X step, right? So I feel my knee hit, put my foot down, and my X step is short. So a body cue is a great way to teach yourself the cue to a short X step. If you absolutely cannot do that and need a tool, a prop in order to do that, this is what I used to use. Cones. And all you do is put them down about 12 inches or so apart and use these. Oh, you can't see them. Let me move them back. There we go. Use these as visual cues for a while. So I put my setup step here, X step right in front of the secondary cone. Let me try that again while I'm on balance. Setup step, X step, short X step, okay? And then just get used to stepping where the cones are and get your body used to making that movement shorter. So then this becomes a mind-body connection, and then you can turn it into a body cue, right? So if you do this over and over again, you'll get used to it and it'll become a movement pattern for you. So this is the second way that we can combat a long X step, using a prop, using cones. The second reason that I have seen that we turn backwards is we're trying to coil too soon. We coil too early in our walk-up. And I struggled with this as well. As soon as I got here, I was starting my coil, and then I would X step. Well, I've coiled, and now my X step is pointing straight backwards because I started my coil way too soon. We need to start our coil much later in our walk-up. Now, there's two ways that I would coach to do this. The first way is to just think about coiling later by keeping your body pointed forward as long as humanly possible. Keep your eyes on your target as long as possible. And if our body is forward, it's hard for us to coil. And you have plenty of time to coil. I know we get impatient. We're like, I gotta turn backwards and get in position. But from here to here is an eternity in disc golf. You have plenty of time to get from here to here and coil your full coil. The problem is that if we don't, and we start coiling before we X step, we have nothing to coil against. We need to get this foot down. We need to get this foot down and some weight on it before we start our coil so it doesn't shift backwards. Because we can X step, a short X step all we want, but if this foot doesn't get down in time, we're going to swivel on it and it's going to end up pointed backwards. We need to get the weight down on that foot and then coil against that weight on that foot. So wait in your X step to coil by watching your target and keeping your body forward as long as possible before you start to coil. If you can't train yourself, if you're not disciplined enough to visually wait and keep your body forward, count your steps. Now I have a 5-step walk up, so I never started coiling, never. I didn't start coiling until after I said the number 4, okay? So let me show you what this looks like real quick, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, coil, right? And that's what I would do. I would count out loud. And yes, I felt like an idiot when I first started because I'm just counting to 4 over and over and over again. But it is 1, 2, 3, 4, coil. And I couldn't coil until I said the word coil, and I couldn't say the word coil until I hit the number 4. That made it so that I couldn't coil too soon. I was always coiling after the X step was down. Now, if you have a 4-step approach, you're saying coil after number 3. It's 1, 2, 3, coil. If you have a 3-step, it's 1, 2, coil, right? And don't coil until after you say the number right before your plant. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, coil. And that will make it so that you get that foot down and weight bearing on it before you start coiling. All right, there is a bonus. And this might be controversial, but it's something that I coach. I don't know how many other people coach it. When I was watching Blitz, he talked about getting set up and then coiling your hips first and then coiling your shoulders and then shaking the hand, right? For some people, that may be an issue because they're thinking about coiling their hips first. And what happens if they coil too soon and thinking about coiling their hips first? They're going to turn their foot backwards, right? So for some people, coiling from the bottom up may not work. And it may be hindering your ability to get that foot down perpendicular like we want. And what I coach is coiling your shoulders first. And then once you've exhausted your shoulder coil, that turns into your hip coil. That will keep you from rotating your hips too soon and then rotating your foot backwards. So when I go into my coil, 1, 2, 3, 4, coil, the shoulders, and then the hips follow, right? And my full coil is shoulders, hips. That's what I coach. If it works for the athlete, that's great. If it doesn't work for the athlete, that's fine as well. I don't think it matters unless you're having an issue. If you try all the things before this and it's still not clicking with you and you're still not getting that foot down, maybe try coiling with your shoulders first instead of thinking about coiling with your hips first. Again, probably a little controversial. People might not agree with me, but it works for me and it's worked for other people that I've coached. Well, there you have it. That's all I have for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope it's something that you find useful. Go out and give it a shot, give it some practice, see if you can keep that X step foot perpendicular and get your full coil on. And again, if you have issues coiling and you need advice on how to coil, of course, there's always coaching. If you click the link below, I'm always here and available. If you want specialized coaching, it's daily form reviews for my tier. And then Mikey and Josh and Jake and Cam all have other tiers as well. So look us all up. We'll be here for you if you want some coaching. Well, as always, thanks for watching and thanks for your support. Until next time, enjoy the journey. Here's your verse of the day.